Hello. How's it going, everybody? Hope you are all doing well and had a wonderful weekend. Huh. It's been another lazy weekend for me. I did work yesterday, and it was crazy busy. But beyond work, I kind of rested all day today. Minus doing the notes and everything for this. Hey, SLJ. Oh, man. Yeah. I suppose, I had Friday off of work, and I spent that entire day kind of finalizing my set list for a show that I'm doing in the fall. Pretty much almost everything is new in terms of me performing the songs, except for the song "I Don't Like You" and "Sex Dreams." Those are the only two that survived from the original set list. And then everything else is going to be new music or new singles or new covers to perform. So I'm pretty stoked. Hey, Sandy. But man, I'm pushing myself to the limits with the vocals because it's like much higher notes than I usually sing live. And there's some screaming in it as well, which I've barely done live thus far. So I kind of went through a run through of that Friday, and woof, it's a difficult one, but I'm excited to kind of get into practicing it regularly so I can get used to it. Hey, Alexandria. And hey, Sandy. But yeah, that's what I was up to this weekend. How are you guys? I hope you are all doing well. All right. So, Kaiwan, you were still wrong about Willow because the judge is insane. Anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the General Hospital After Show. I am your host, Dion Gabriel. We got a lot of ground to cover, so let's just jump right into things. Angel, yeah, I'm right there with you. We're going to get into that, not last, but like later, just because it's kind of everything else beyond, there's barely anything else beyond the Drew stuff that happened this week. So we're going to get into, the other things first, because that'll just kind of be real easy to kind of talk about, and then just get into the bigger things this week. Alexandria, you said, I feel like once again the writers went for cheap shock value. I agree. No judge would have given custody to Willow in general. I agree. Yeah, unless you're mentally handicapped, Willow's a garbage parent. Aaron, you said, what's up, everybody? I'm assuming you were going to say excited, maybe? Yeah, actually, Angel, that's the first thing we're talking about. So that's exactly my first thing in my notes. I won't turn the camera around, but it says the war between Brooklyn and Lulu. That is the first thing we are getting into. So let's get into it. This week, Maxie took it upon herself to try and play referee between her two BFFs, Brooklyn and Lulu, by tricking them into coming over to her house at the same time so they can talk it over. And as I'm sure you guys can guess, it didn't go over well. Now, Lulu being, Lulu, the stubborn girl that she is, took every low blow she could muster up about Brooklyn's life choices to the point where Brooklyn practically slapped Lulu into next week. Of course, Lulu tried to fight back, but Maxie got in between them and sent Brooklyn away. Maxie also called out Lulu on the choices that she made because it essentially blew up Gio's life. And she insisted that she take responsibility for it. And also kudos to kudos to Kirsten Storms, because her performance during that whole scene was great, because you could tell she was heartbroken, yet equally fed up, that she was, in between her two best friends and having to break them apart, and, she's just kind of accepting that they'll never be friends, and that Lulu doesn't see how her lack of accountability hurt Brooklyn's kid, which, it breaks her heart. Thankfully, that bit got through to Lulu, in terms of like how she really messed up Gio's life. So she made a point to seek him out at the Metrocourt pool where he works to apologize. And, he asks her how she found out, and she sits him down and explains the whole thing. And what's funny is he's actually grateful to Lulu. And, he's been pretty friendly with her through that whole conversation. I'm sure that will go over well with Brooklyn when she finds out that that Lulu and Gio are civil. Now, Brooklyn, she's on the warpath, which, I can't blame her for. She got Marco to dig up information on Britt Westbourne, since she's aware that Britt implanted Lulu and Dante's embryo into herself to pass it off as someone's kid. That someone we know is Patrick. I don't know her true goal here by digging this up, but during her and Lulu's squabble at Maxie's place, Lulu had made a point to say that she's never lied to her kids. So potentially Brooklyn is either trying to prove that Lulu has lied to Rocco and Charlotte, who, the writers actually remembered existed this week, which we'll get into soon. But at the very least, she's trying to fabricate a lie, using real facts so that Lulu's kid ends up hating her too. That's my guess. Is it petty? Yes. But given Lulu's been using Brooklyn's distant past of her misgivings to justify everything she's said and done to her since Lulu woke up from her coma, I can't really blame Brooklyn. Like, Lulu's inability to let go of the past definitely clouded her judgment when it came to how she handled finding out that Brooklyn and Dante had a kid together. So, I don't know. You reap what you sow, Lulu. I can't blame Brooklyn for wanting revenge, because Lulu's been gunning for her. I don't think that it was 100% her motivation in terms of, like, digging up the truth, but I think that how she handled it, her past with Brooklyn definitely factored in, because she's just assuming that Brooklyn was being malicious and keeping the truth. She figured that she's a schemer and knew that Gio was her son and purposely moved him into the house with Dante to, I don't know, to sort of, I guess, have them meet without him knowing. And she just refused to see that she has grown and that things have changed since the last 4 years that she was gone. Sandy, you said that this is a plot to bring back Britt. And you might be right. We'll get into that in a second, but let's just quickly dive into Gio for just a minute before we do talk about the Brit stuff, because you guys are probably not wrong. But now, despite Gio's life being flipped upside down, outside of his family drama, he's doing all right for himself. He's working a job so he can get his own place while he currently resides with Emma and Anna, who Anna apparently has warmed really up to Gio. I hate that we haven't seen them at the apartment, because I'd like to see that and see how Anna and Gio interact, because I kind of forget that, like, Sunny took Robin in, and now Anna's essentially taken Sunny's grandchild in. So it's kind of like, it's a little bit similar situation. But yeah, so Gio, he's aware that Emma wants to bring down Professor Dalton, and he's gotten to know her well enough to know that despite how risky the way she's doing it is, he's not going to convince her to stop what she's doing and how she's doing it. So he just vows to help her in whatever way she needs and to be there if it goes south. Which I like, because, Emma is clearly a strong girl, and I like that Gio is sort of, understanding enough to know why she's doing it, and respects Emma enough to be able to pull this off, and if she can't pull it off, to just be there for her if it does go south. But little do they know that Jocelyn and Vaughn are investigating him as well, with a lot more resources at their disposal. And Emma's plan nearly puts a wrench in their sort of digging when she walks in on them in the middle of the investigation. And Vaughn and Jocelyn quickly have to cover by kissing, which I'm sure nobody saw coming at all. Jocelyn interacting with a hot guy, of course. But yeah, so Emma's nice enough to not want to get Vaughn in trouble because she just thinks he's the janitor or whatever. But Jocelyn's another story. And Emma wants to take advantage of Joss to try and figure out what Dalton's up to. Joss comes up with a plan to have Vaughn get close enough to Emma so he can lead her away from Dalton and the lab. So Joss can figure out what Dalton is up to herself. Jocelyn can't even get into the lab either yet, so we're probably a long way from discovering what's in there. Although, and this is where we're going to get into Brit here, I think that a lot of us are speculating that it might be tied into Kelly Tebow's return. With the amount of Brit Westbourne mentions the show has done lately, it's looking more and more like Kelly might actually be playing Brit after all, which honestly annoys me because if they undo Brit's death by poisonous hook and her incurable Huntington's disease, and even Lisa Obrecht seeing her die and then going to her dead body the next day and saying goodbye again, where she's clearly like sort of looking dead. Like, she looked pale as hell when we saw Obrecht with Brit the next morning. And just the anger that Obrecht felt. It'll be just the biggest eye roll ever, in my opinion. But I am torn because I loved Kelly as Brit. You guys know this. And I've already mentioned how nervous I was, or am, really, at the writers giving her a new role to play, given their track record on how secondary characters for returning actors have all flopped pretty hard under Frank Valentini. Aaron, you said, when is Kelly coming back? She is back on set already. She is set to air next month, but I don't know what day. Yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I'm torn when it comes to Brit. I loved Brit. I loved the growth that the character experienced. Kelly played her so well, and she made us fall in love with Brit eventually. But yeah, I don't know. But moving on. Now, one returning theme for the summer that always manages to make me cringe is this softball rivalry with all the businesses in Port Charles. I think it's just a silly way to promote their merch, to be honest. But it is what it is. This year, they've shoehorned it in, maybe to start a romance between Sonny and the DA who's gunning for him. Because, that's definitely not a story we've seen before countless times. Claire Walsh, what was the last DA who wanted to bring Sonny down and had, weird ties to his past or something? Forget her. But we've seen Sonny be with government officials several times over. Especially the ones that were gunning for him to begin with. But yeah, D.A. Turner, she has joined the softball match with the PCPD, and they've I think they're utilizing it to soften her character a little bit, because they're showing that she kind of sucks at sports, but is willing to, make a fool of herself just to kind of social network with other businesses and other officials throughout Port Charles. And maybe this is the way that they usher Natalia out the door. We still haven't seen what Natalia has ultimately decided, by the way, but I have no doubt that she'll just vanish to the life that Sonny promised her in hiding forever. Maybe she'll find Claudette. Remember her? The person that actually carried Lulu's baby to begin with? Charlotte, I mean. She's still in hiding ever since Valentine faked her death, and no one knows where she is still. I bring it up every 5 years because it's been 10. Oh Lord. Speaking of Charlotte, Lulu actually finally, after several months, thanked Anna for helping her bring Charlotte home, and we've not seen Charlotte ever since. I kind of forgot that she was rescued because we've only seen Rocco. We've not even heard Charlotte mentioned until just this week. It's crazy to me. Autumn, you said, hey, I think this whole blackmail plot is stupid because I think no reasonable judge. We'll get into that, Autumn. We haven't talked about that yet, but we'll get into it. Brooklyn, you said Britt was one of my favorite actresses. Yeah, I love Kelly too. I'm for her return no matter what storyline she's given. Yeah, that's where I'm torn. It's like, I want Britt to be back. I think it was such an annoying thing to give the character an uncurable disease and to kill her off, even though killing her off was Kelly's choice because she legitimately thought she wouldn't be back. And, you know, life happened and it didn't work out for her, so it is what it is. But yeah, kind of back to the softball stuff. Sonny also convinced Gio to join the Corinthos Coffee softball team, which means he'll be surrounded by the Quartermains because the Quartermains have ELQ, of course. I'm sure Corinthos Coffee and the ELQ gang are going to face off. Not that we'll actually see the game off on screen because we've never seen it on screen. We just see the aftermath. But I'm sure it'll lead to some situations where Gio's going to have to interact with the Qs. Speaking of the PCPD, I should mention that after Anna locked Dante and Chase in a prison cell to work out their differences, they are at least now in a place to work professionally together. We'll see how long that lasts. Alright, but now we'll get into the Drew stuff because there's so many different aspects of the story. So we'll just kind of dive into everything, I guess. Well, Gio didn't join ELQ's team. He joined Sonny's team, and Sonny, he does trust him, Kaiwan. But alright, yeah. Now let's get into the main drama that's taken over the show these last few months. All things pertaining to Drew Kane. The custody hearing, and trying to figure out where the story is actually going from here, because certain things are happening, and certain things have been revealed that are making the story a total head-scratcher. Last we left off, Drew wanted to bring a proposal to Michael via Jason to reach some sort of compromise so Willow could see her kids again. Jason makes it clear in no uncertain terms that a compromise will never happen as long as he is in the picture because he is in, he's poison to the kids. Drew is literally such a scumbag that he tried to tell Wiley, or try to make Wiley overhear that Michael doesn't want him, knowing that he was listening, even though that's not the case. Just so that Michael and Willow wouldn't compromise sharing the kids. Piece of shit. But anyway, Jason makes it clear in no uncertain terms that a compromise will never happen as long as he's in the picture, and Drew made it clear that he won't stop until Michael loses custody of the kids. Congressman Ketamine. Exactly. Amen, Aaron. Anyway, so what I loved about that scene between Drew and Jason, though, is the acting between Cameron Matheson and Steve Burton. They played that scene so damn good. And just like they both kind of made threats to each other, and they said, "Quote me." Steve kind of did it better, not gonna lie, but I mean that's why they call Jason Stone Cold. He knows how to look dead terrifying, and Cameron Matheson, as much as he tries to play the villain, he's not that intimidating. You know what I mean? Like, cause Cameron's such a sweetheart outside of GH, so it's like it's kind of funny. But now, anyway, as you guys recall, Drew's lawyer, Martin, had given him a suggestion that is a drastic action, but we weren't aware of what that action was until this week. Turns out it's marrying Willow, since the judge apparently has always been known to see married couples as a better option for kids. So Martin thinks that if they were to do that, when things can be revisited, it might get the judge to recant her ruling and have them either share custody or the custody go to Willow. And obviously, Willow is so far gone from reality that she'll do whatever Drew asks her to. And it doesn't really help that when it came to Wiley's custody originally, Willow and Michael got married to look like a better option than Nell. And it worked. Now, here is the problem. It's not going to work because apparently Jen Sidwell paid the judge to rule in Michael's favor, which is literally the dumbest shit that the show has written lately, because no judge in their right mind, no person in their right mind, no one, like, you have to be, there has to be something wrong with your brain if you think that Willow deserves those kids just because Michael cheated first. Because that's not a reason to give kids. Like, the reason to give kids, like, a parent custody to the kids is if they are a good parent. And you're not a good parent if you're shifting your kid from house to house to house to sleep with your husband's uncle. That's just facts. It's facts. And anyone who thinks otherwise has something wrong with their brain. And I said what I said, and I don't care. It's the truth. But anyway, Jens did that for whatever reason. Now the question is why? Why would he do that? Like, the only possible reason that I can think of is maybe to be able to frame Sonny for paying the judge off so that Michael loses custody if Sonny decides not to cooperate with selling the Pierce to him. That is the only thing I can kind of think of. Angel, you said Willow literally lost the kids because of Drew due to the judge reasoning. Like, yeah, like a normal judge would have done that, except we saw that Jen Sidwell paid the judge off. Like, I don't know. Like, it makes me wonder, like, would the judge have really ruled... Like, is the judge stupid enough to have ruled in Willow's favor? Because I don't think so, you know what I mean? Like, at the very least, with the Sasha stuff... Like, Sasha and Michael at least live in the house together, so they're going to be raising their kid together one way or the other. So it's like, marriage or not, like, that would be a better situation. But yeah, Jens knows that Sonny's family is important to him, just like Sidwell's son is important to him. And Jens and Sonny had a confrontation this week, where he announces that his goal is to get rid of Sonny's influence on Port Charles. And we still don't know if he was truly the one going after Sonny in the hospital, or if he's the one that blew Michael up while trying to get Sonny. Something tells me we won't know the answer for that for quite some time, because these writers have an act for writing like a mystery without knowing who the actual culprit is. Like, you can tell, I feel like if we, the audience who have watched for as long as we have, no disrespect to the newer viewers, but we've seen for a long ass time that this show has a tendency to write a mystery and not actually pick who the culprit is until like a year down the line, and by then we've stopped caring. So it's like, it's kind of what happened with The Hook. We stopped caring who it was. Once we found out it was Heather Weber, it fizzled. Once we found out that Cyrus was the one killing people in the hospital, it fizzled. No one cared that it was them. No one even cares that Cyrus is dead. Jocelyn doesn't even care. She's not even seeming remotely traumatized by killing him. She's just kind of moved on and is happily playing Super Spy. Like, what? I just don't understand it. It's so dumb, but it is what it is. Now, another mystery that's unfolding this week is that someone seems to be messing with Sasha and Michael. At the start of the week, Sasha's baby was switched with another baby in the nursery, but was found pretty quickly after that, in all fairness. Then, once Sasha brought the baby back to the Q's, we see that someone is watching them through the back window. And we also see that whoever that was managed to get into the house and even into the baby's room at one point, but never took the baby. They just, like, lingered over it and played I don't even know what you call those things. Those sort of things that make music above the baby. Which, Sasha noticed that it's playing and she's wondering who did it. But the baby's still there and safe and sound, so who knows? So, the question is, who is it? The biggest suspect is Willow, who's clearly not in her right mind right now, and we've seen that through Caitlin McMullen's killer performances the last couple of weeks. She's killing it. I'm loving her performance. She's doing so good at playing just like a person who is not okay and not of sound of mind and just lost with this sort of shock decision. Aaron, you said maybe Willow's mentally broke. She seems that way. She certainly seems that way. She even tried to show up at the Metrocorp pool to see Wiley during his swim lessons, but I think Michael bumped it an hour earlier just to avoid that happening. Oh, it's called a mobile? Thank you, Angel. But yeah, she missed Wiley. Then she found his shirt that he left there, and was trying to use that as an excuse to bring it over to the queues, but thankfully Christina showed up to find it because she was there with Michael earlier while Wiley was swimming. But yeah, so Willow, like, she seems like a viable suspect because, the show has also made it a point so that we don't know Willow's whereabouts when this is going down. When we're seeing someone spying on Sasha and Michael through the window and being in the house, and when the baby's disappeared, we've not seen where Willow has been during any of those situations. That said, she could be a red herring, but I think it would be a good story if she is the one doing it. Having her have a psychotic break. It runs in the family. Nina's had a breakdown. Nell's had a breakdown. It might as well be her turn. But since we are playing devil's advocate, another alternative suspect, in my opinion, could be Holly. The grandparents have not met their grandchild yet, and Holly has an act of breaking in and out of places without being seen or heard, and she knows her and Sasha aren't exactly on the best of terms, so she might just be trying to get a glimpse of the baby without disrupting Sasha's life. That's my second guess. But what do you guys think? Like, is there other possibilities? Because, the only other thing I can really think of is maybe Jens is sending someone to spy on the kid for him, maybe to use as leverage to bring Holly back into town. I don't know for sure. But that's my third guess, I suppose. I don't think... Aaron, you think Nell... Anything's possible. Anything is possible. I don't know. I feel like Nell would be paying more attention to Wiley, because that's her actual child. But she doesn't seem to be watching Wiley. She specifically is going into the room to see Daisy. But who knows? Nell is crazy, so she could be gunning for Daisy, and maybe using that as leverage to get Wiley, or get custody of Wiley herself again. I don't know. Angel, do you think it could be Sidwell's people too? Sasha's not too bright with dealing with him. No, she's not. Autumn, you said, do you think Nina should tell Willow about her and Drew? In my personal opinion, she should definitely tell, because that would make Willow see how she threw her family away for a man that was banging her mom. Listen, I don't disagree with you. I have been wanting her to tell the truth ever since, Willow started dating Drew. However, even Ava and Nina had a conversation this week where Ava's been like, I know I've been telling you to tell the truth, but she is so far gone that you will for sure lose your relationship with your daughter. And while I think a good parent would sacrifice their relationship in order to save their child, Nina is not capable, because she has so desperately wanted to be a mom her whole life, and she's already lost Nell, that she's not willing to give up her relationship with her daughter. And in all honesty, I think there's probably some merit to them arguing that if she tells Willow now, Willow probably won't even believe her anyway. So it's I don't know. I think Holly is helping Ethan. Is Ethan in danger again? I think Holly's just in danger. I think Holly's the one that's in danger, and just Robert's helping her deal with them, the dangerous people that she's supposedly dealing with off screen somewhere. But that's what I'm saying. She could still just sneak over to town just to check out her daughter, and maybe leave a note or something, and then maybe the daughter gets taken anyway by someone else, so that there's just all these kind of, what do you call it, these fake outs. Guys, I watched Final Destination, and there were so I'm not going to spoil the movie, although the premise is always the same with those movies, but there were so many fake out moments. So I would love to see GH do a couple of fake outs here and there to make it like seem like, oh, everything's fine, until the real situation happens. Autumn, you said I would just roll the dice and tell the truth. I would too. If Nina was a good mother, she would have told her daughter the truth a long time ago. I agree. That's exactly what I said. Like, she would have done it. She should have done it a long time ago, but she is incapable because she's just so desperate to keep her relationship. She's been lying to Willow in the first place, you know? Like, she essentially, like, blackmailed Drew, or not blackmailed, what's the word? She bribed Drew to tell, to sort of soften, or help Willow soften it up to her, in exchange to get a foot through the door with the politician that turned him into a politician in the first place. So, yeah. I don't know. I think, it's not enough that that Nina tell the truth about how they slept together. She needs to tell the whole truth as to how Drew started interacting with both of them in the first place, as much as he did. So yeah, but Ava's trying to convince her not to, and Nina, Nina's gonna be like, "You right," because that's what she's wanted the whole time. Angel, you said, "Oh, I saw Bloodlines last week. Good movie. Rest in peace, Tony Todd." Yeah, his scene in the movie, it was so real because the character died of cancer, or not the character. The character was dying of cancer, and kind of being like, I'm going to live the rest of my life with as much happiness as I can, and then just kind of walks off the screen. And what a perfect fitting ending for a character, and so realistic because that's how the actor died, I believe. I think he died of cancer. Too real. So the end of an era for sure. But yeah, I think Nina should just tell the truth and rip off the Band-Aid and get it over with. But something tells me that someone else is going... I mean, we know that other people know, right? I feel like Sasha knows. Maxie knows. Maybe Ned and Tracy know? But for sure, Sasha and Maxie know that Nina and Drew had an affair, and why Nina and Drew even got together in the first place. So, okay, Tony had stomach cancer. Okay. Yeah, may he rest in power. South Center's on Juneteenth. I haven't seen it yet, but it looks good. Oh yes, also happy belated Juneteenth. Brooklyn, you said Nina is doomed either way. I agree. But if Nina's not going to tell the truth, I hope Maxie does it. Because I don't think Sasha will. And I think even if Sasha does, Willow's not going to believe her. So, Maxie, she has no reason to lie to Willow. Cody told Tracy and Ned. Okay, see, there's people that know. Oh, that's right. Ned and Tracy have that video proof with Cody and Drew arguing about it. That's true. And Angel, you said Ava's right. It wouldn't even matter to Willow at this point. Yeah, you're right. So Maxie should do it. Alright, so one more aspect of the story when it comes to Drew is that Curtis and Portia and Michael, everyone else, is still trying to find a way to bring Drew down. Curtis hired Felicia to track down Jacinda. She's still off somewhere doing that. But Curtis wants to leave Aurora so that Drew couldn't use him to defame Michael. But Michael insists that he stays there to make sure that Drew thinks he's won. Michael and Curtis seem to have some kind of plan in the works. I don't really know what that is fully, but they're up to something, and they've involved Tracy in it in some way too, forcing her to cooperate and trying to make her have a press conference so that Drew can take back the Court of May name and get the charges against her dropped. But yeah, I don't I don't really know the whole game plan. I think that maybe Tracy's going to appear to cooperate, and then maybe Jacinda's going to come in and perhaps, to say what Curtis wants to pay her to say, that Drew took the drugs himself. But, on the other hand, like, there is a factor that's there, and it's Kai. Kai got told this week that he can't play football. Let's take a moment to mourn Kai's entire off-screen football career, because, the surgery, while improving his ability to do regular athletic things, did not help him enough to play football again. So he's devastated. But Drew swooped in to be like, I know, how about you become my political intern instead? And Kai took a minute to think about it, worried it would mean that he'd have to leave Trina and move to DC, but Drew reassures him that the internship is whatever he wants it to be. So I think we know where this is going. Kai's obviously eventually going to be the one to tell Drew that Curtis and Portia paid Jacinda to say the ketamine was his, if that eventually happens. So that's the sort of, the wrench in the plan. But yeah, since we're talking about Curtis, let's quickly jump into talking about Jordan for a second. Curtis seems convinced that his marriage is over and it's not going to survive this blackmail situation. And he confides in Jordan about it. And apparently Jordan does not know how to feel about the potential ending of his marriage with Portia. Girl, feel nothing, please, because that man is not worth it. Like, you have this sexy man, Isaiah, standing right there at the pool with a whole cabin out in the woods to play in, just waiting for you. And you're out here pining for a man that is nitpicking every choice you make for yourself. The secrets you kept because of work. Why? When Isaiah, Dr. Hottie over there, is standing right there wanting you badly. And you're going and you're like thinking about Curtis and like a potential reunion if he ends his marriage. Like, are you joking? And it's funny because Portia was like, clearly threatened by Jordan spending any time with Curtis at all. Like, she's pining for him, and I was like, oh, she don't want him. And then like now, like not even like a few minutes later, she's confiding in Anna about like, feeling some kind of way that his marriage could be over. Does that lead us a path to get back together? Lord, I don't know. Brooklyn, you said I have a feeling that Kai was adopted. We don't even know who his parents are anyway. Like, we don't know. Autumn says Kai is a naive idiot, but he's gonna learn the hard way about Drew. Yeah, Drew's using him. People that let politicians use them is like insane to me. Because like there is no politician in the world that fully has, people's best interests at heart. They're all about kind of their own interests and their own sort of, corporate interests. Interests that can make them money. People are just numbers to them and disposable. And they just kind of color over it with, throwing them a bone, But yeah, so that's that with Kai and Jordan. Last, I guess the only thing to really discuss is Christina. We got to see Christina squirm this week because Elizabeth decided to confront her and tell her that she knows that she caused their accident, and basically just to keep her in check, because if she enacts any sort of revenge against Ava, she will see to it that she will turn her in. And Christina looked like a deer caught in the headlights, so I loved that. Not that it's going to stop Christina's current plan to break Ava and Rick up. She's still got Cody trying to flirt with Ava. Ava's not really fully taking the bait. Like, Cody's there, like, with his shirt unbuttoned and his abs showing, and honestly looking like a snack. He looked hot this week. But Ava's just kind of about it. I think that Rick is going to spend a lot more time with Elizabeth, or try to, because Lucky's out of the picture and he can't help himself. And even if he's, capable enough of staying reserved and staying as her friend and not wanting to affect that, I think that him spending time with her will likely make Ava jealous anyway. So it'll put a little wrench in their plan, and Ava's probably going to feel threatened by the fact that Lucky's not in town anymore. Erin said, "Oh, that was a good scene. I loved when Rick walked in." But yeah. Autoimmune said Elizabeth was laying down the law with Christina. It was funny as hell. Yeah, I loved it. I lived for it. It was too good. But yeah, so we'll see what happens there. I think it's going to go south for Christina, because it always does. It's inevitable. But yeah, I don't know. I just hope that the fallouts of all these stories that we're seeing currently just work out better than like what I feel like it will. I feel like all these stories are going to fizzle out. Now that we've kind of gotten past the biggest hurdles of each of the stories, it's like, I don't know. It just feels like they're going to fall flat with like payoffs that are going to annoy the audience rather than like make us cheer. But yeah, we'll see. Beyond that, there's not much to report on GH. I'm excited to see what the show brings this week. But yeah, and especially with Kelly Thibault return on the horizon, that's what I'm most excited for. I think. I don't think it's happening this week. I think likely it'll probably happen in the next 2-3 weeks. We've seen her on set. She's made TikToks about it. Being back on the set of the hospital. But yeah, I don't know. That's the number one on my sort of excitement list with GH. There's rumors that Lisa Albrecht, Kathleen Gotti, is returning. I don't think anything's been confirmed, but if Kelly is truly playing Britt, which it seems like she might be, we're bound to see Obrecht, because Obrecht is not going to stay away from her daughter. Maybe they'll argue that Obrecht has been with Britt the entire time, because she has been off screen the whole time. But we'll see. But yeah, only other thing to report to y'all is that this upcoming Thursday, I will be on James Lott Jr.'s channel. So that's exciting. It's gonna be 8 p.m. my time. So that's mountain time for you guys. So whatever time that is on your end, you'll see. But yeah, I'm excited. It's been a minute since I've been on James Lott Jr.'s podcast. Albert's gonna be there too, and also one more person who I'm forgetting, but another GH podcaster. Let me see if I can just find that quickly. Sorry if I'm lagging. I'm on the internet now. Let's see. Of course, my internet's going slow. I will post the promo on it as soon as this live stream is done. I will post the ad for it on my on the community post of my YouTube channel. It depends what time zone you're in, Kaiwan. I don't know. Like usually, I live stream 8:30 p.m. my time. So that's when I start my live streams on Wednesdays and Sundays. So a half an hour before I'm usually on those days. Yeah. But yeah, we're doing kind of like James is doing kind of like a soap roundtable for the next few. I think my day, the 26th, the Thursday, is the first one, but there's several that are happening in the days after that as well. So lots to look forward to on his channel. So if you're not subscribed to him, which I doubt, because I think everybody is at this point, subscribe and stay tuned, because there's going to be a lot of exciting live streams happening there. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Yeah, 10 o'clock your time, I guess, Kaiwan. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in to the live stream today. I had lots of fun discussing the ins and outs of the Drew situation and who's kind of holding all the cards. I think right now it's Jen Sidwell. Yeah. I'll still live stream Wednesday, of course. Whether it's going to be a hangout stream or we're going to watch a throwback, I'll find out. Usually I base it off of if we see anything that calls for a throwback on screen this week. And if not, we'll just hang out and kind of share our thoughts on the week thus far. Sunday Shift. Yeah, I think so. I think you're. Well, I know. Yeah, they just followed me on Instagram recently, so I'm thinking that's the one who is probably in our soap roundtable. But I will post the ad as soon as I go off the air here. I have the ad already saved in my phone, so I will post it on my channel right away. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you liked this live stream, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. And I will catch you guys this Wednesday, this Thursday on James's channel, and next Sunday as well. Good night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Mwah.